Cimoooooooo! What's going on, guys? It's Cimo, and welcome to another episode of Throwback Thursday, a weekly series where we look at some broke-ass cards from the anime and apply them to the current meta. Now, this week's card is Lullaby of Obedience, and for those of you who don't know what this card does, I'll go ahead and let Kaiba explain.
Now I activate Lullaby of Obedience! This magic card allows me to take a high-powered monster from your deck and add it to my hand!
Wait. So you're telling me that this card allows you, for no cost, allows you to take a monster out of your opponent's deck and add it to your hand. Now, the anime does specify high-powered monster, so it doesn't specify if it's like by attack value or level or anything like that, but what we can do is we can kind of just take this and extrapolate high power to kind of mean whatever we want in context. So let's go ahead and take a look at the meta. So we've got Cosmos as arguably one of the best decks right now, and what would be considered a high-powered monster in Cosmos? Dark Destroyer maybe? So in a mirror match, you could theoretically play Lullaby of Obedience, take a Dark Destroyer out of your opponent's deck, summon any of your pilots, and then tag it out for their Dark Destroyer to pop one of their cards. So even though when it dies, it's still going to get its effect for the opponent, you still get all the benefits of the Dark Destroyer until that time comes. So, like, holy shit. And not just one card. Let's go ahead and look at another deck like Monarchs. Monarchs, I would consider Ether and Erebus to be high-powered monsters because they're 2800, they're level 8, they have a lot of stuff going for them. So, again, in the context of a mirror match, you could, in theory, play Lullaby of Obedience, take either an Ether or an Erebus from your opponent's deck, and then use it as you will. And there's really no downside to it other than the fact that, you know, they're going to get it back in their grave, but you're taking one of their best cards, using it for your own, and just reaping all the benefits of it. For no cost! Nothing! It's just free! Free fucking card! Now the downside that I see to this card is that theoretically, it's really only good in mirror matches. And the reason I say that is because if you're playing something like Burning Abyss and your opponent's playing something like Monarch, taking an Ether or an Erebus isn't really going to do you a whole lot of good, other than the fact that, you know, you can just take it out of their deck, I guess, so that they can't use it. But regardless, it doesn't really do you any good unless you're going to use it for just free discard fodder, because it is a one-for-one. You're not losing anything. There's no cost associated with it, so you're just kind of replacing this with something else. So, I mean, if you want to look at it that way, maybe say, oh, I'm going to take your Erebus, or I'm going to take your Dark Destroyer, just so you don't have an extra copy, and then that way I can discard it for, like, Twin Twister or any card that requires a discard cost. I mean, again, it's a one-for-one, so you're not really losing anything by doing that. So, if anything, taking away that resource is the worst-case scenario that this card has. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Lullaby of Obedience. This was one of my favorite cards in the anime, not gonna lie. I remember seeing this card and I was just like, fuck! So, it's really cool to see that I finally get to, you know, dedicate an episode to this card, because it is really cool. It has some context in the meta, and, you know, thank God that we're not going to be having this card in the TCG anytime soon. I really gotta stop doing this. Thank you all so much for watching the video. See you next week.
Cimoooooooo!